Nowadays, testosterone battles are few and far between. Everything is going to EcoBoost this and hybrid that and dual motor this. And there's no question anymore on whether just displacement versus displacement, which one is better. And sometimes when you do get down to it, they get pretty similar these days. I'm Alex at Instagram, and in today's episode of Opposite Lanes, we're gonna be comparing whether you should own a Cadillac CTS-V or a Chevy Corvette Grandsport. First up, we got good old RJ in the old Grandsport. Now the oh my goodness, I forget how low. What's up? Oh gosh, how do you? Okay, first off, before I even start.
6 months later.
Oh, that part's manual. Okay, so you can pick up a Grandsport right now for right around $30,000. which isn't too bad of a deal. And for the sake of just being in here, I'm just gonna, hold on, let me just. For those that don't know, the Grandsport is pretty much the in-between for your typical Corvette and of course the old big boy Z Series ZL1. The biggest thing to remember with the Grandsport is that it still has, it's about 130 horsepower less than the CTS-V. You can pick one up for right around $30,000. And the biggest thing with the Grandsport is the exterior. The exterior is like the body lines and all that sort of good stuff. It's pretty much the reason that you buy it. If you're looking to get a Corvette and you got $30,000, you're gonna wanna upgrade to the Grandsport because just the body, I think, is what makes it totally worth it. Now, for those that don't know the history of this car as a whole, this car was actually pretty much built in a basement back in the 50s when they were trying to outlaw, manufacturers from creating race cars. And so, way back in the day, when they were trying to make the Z06, they made the Z06 practically in a basement. There's a long story about that, but ultimately what ended up happening is the Z06 was created, and the only issue with it was inherently the weight. And so they needed to get the weight down for it to participate in the Le Mans as needed, and of course they went back to the drawing board. They essentially had to launder money through an agency company to get enough money to even develop the Grandsport. And when they did, they shaved down about 1,000 pounds, and that's where the Grandsport essentially came to be. Now that is a history lesson in about 45 seconds, and there's a lot more to it nowadays, because obviously the highest trim option is no longer the Grandsport. Now this one has the heads-up display, it's got the whole 9 yards. My favorite thing about this Corvette is overall just the looks. And when you're looking at $30,000, it's still $10,000 cheaper than most of your CTS-Vs. And the best thing about this car too, since it is the Grandsport, is that it's hand-built right next to the Z06 and the ZR1. It has some bits and pieces from both. It's got the oil dry sump system. And overall, it is a more refined Corvette in pretty much every single way. When you're driving your base model Corvette compared to a Grandsport, you can tell a difference. Most of the difference is in the actual driving experience as a whole. It just feels better. The one biggest issue when you're looking at a Corvette for daily drivability and just reliability is the fact that there's space, but there's not much usable space. Like you can put a bag back there, maybe a little luggage case to go somewhere, but you're not gonna actually fit anything more than that. The biggest con to the C6 Corvette is the fact that the interior still feels a little rough. Still what we would call loosey-goosey. It just doesn't do it for pretty much anyone anymore, and it's dated super hard because of that. You can see it in just kind of the buttons. They still got all the soft buttons around the side, even the Good old climate control systems are a little dated, but I mean, you're not really getting it for that. But if you're looking at a car, you got $30,000 and you're like, I want the best of everything. The one thing that the Corvette still falls short on in this generation is the interior quality. It's still lots and lots and lots of plastic. You kind of just have to be okay with that, and you have to understand that when you're spending the $30K, you're spending about $20,000 in the actual motor, about $7.5K in old people wondering why you own a Corvette, and the other $2,500 in insurance because you're under the age of 25 years old. The best thing about this car, if you're looking to pick up a Corvette, is the fact that it's rear-wheel drive. You can get in the manual transmission. 6-speed is fantastic. You can floor it. You can pretty much give her hell, and she does a great job at just doing what you need it to do. It's loud, it's obnoxious, it's in your face. Sure, it's 430 horsepower, it's 130 less than the CTS-V, but it really doesn't matter because you got a 6-speed trans. You're gonna have fun with this car. It looks sharp too. And when you're looking at a reliable, fun sports car and you want the testosterone, Corvette's definitely the way to go. I was going 31, by the way, that whole time. You are in a dated car. The interior is dated. Doesn't matter to me. No, because I just don't think domestics have really nailed down their interior to be timeless just yet. I think that even the CTS-V lacks and suffers from typical GM internals that just don't look that good. And to be fair, most people seem to jump over to tuner cars because they're more easily accessible. Maybe they're a little bit of a lower price point than your typical domestic. But Grandsports, Corvettes, Camaros, Challengers, Chargers, all of that stuff are getting more affordable pretty much every single day, especially Corvettes. And if you want to snag something that's fun to drive, that has the power to boot, where you don't actually have to throw that much money at the motor itself to make powerful and keep it reliable, domestics are the best way to go because you don't have to worry about a tune. You really don't have to worry about changing out a turbocharger to get the same power. With just a domestic NA V8, you get a ton of power, you get a ton of torque curve, you get everything that you would want. And if you want a chunk of power, you just switch out some pieces of metal that direct gas that way and maybe an intake, and you're pretty much good to go. It's not like a fake tune. It's not like a crackle pop thing. It's literally just, it's exactly what it needs to be. Exactly what it needs to be at all the right times. On top of the fact that you got a manual transmission, you can take the top off, you can enjoy a summer day, you can drive it, it feels good. Everybody over the age of 40 is going to love you if you're under the age of 30 because you own a Corvette. You just got to be used to the fact that there's a lot of them. You also got to be used to the fact that they don't have the same aftermarket aesthetic potential as a Stancy Boy car, which isn't terrible. They still have quite a bit, but just not as, maybe not as sleek. It's a little bit more brutish. And of course, cue the signaling jokes. You got to buy some New Balances. You got to get yourself some jean shorts. You got to tuck in the t-shirt. You got to do all of that. Because if you want to own one of these cars, it's not just a car, Max. It's a lifestyle, you know? It's a lifestyle. Let's go drive the upper class, much nicer Cadillac CTS-V because that's what you should spend $20,000 on more, $15,000 more on. Oh my gosh. How typical. First thing that's in the center, quarter mile times RJ. RJ ran a, oh gosh, which one do I think he is? I'll give him the benefit of it. No, yeah, 11.5. He either ran an 11.58 or a 12.68. You guys can drop a comment below on what you think RJ ran. All he does is go to the drag races. Okay, let's go drive the Cadillac. All right, so now that we're here, we have the Cadillac CTS-V, a few years newer and about $10,000 more expensive. So you are getting the refined Cadillac interior when you jump in this car. Now, the one thing that you're gonna have to note about the Cadillac CTS-V is, first off, when you first look at it, it's a little awkward to actually, I hate to say it, but it's actually kind of awkward to look at initially. Where is the front? Where am I going? Here's why. If you look at the car in its entirety, it actually kind of looks a little bit like a napkin sketch when you were like 10 years old at a Perkins restaurant and you were bored. Because it is angular, it is sharp, it is oddly composed, especially in the rear. Once you notice how raked the rear fender is, it's almost impossible to unsee. At first, I loved it. Then over time, I didn't like it. And then I loved it again. And here's why. Besides the fact that when you're driving a CTS-V, you legitimately cannot see a dang thing out of it. I don't know what it is with domestics and just refusing to have visibility when it comes to looking behind you, but maybe it's because they just think that they're going so fast that they don't need to look behind them. Lamborghinis have the same problem. Pretty much most of them have the same problem. But once you get used to it, it's not too bad, and it looks super sharp. These cars look so angry. And you got a 6.2 liter supercharged V8. You've got 130 more horsepower than the Corvette. You have back seats. You actually have back seats, which is important if you're trying to look around for a car that you can daily drive and also have the function of a car. Corvette doesn't have that. You have a trunk, which is where you can put things, which is very nice for traveling. Although, I don't know when you would go traveling in a CTS-V. Maybe a CTS-V wagon, that would be nice. Now, this Cadillac is a auto, it's a, it's not a manual. It's not a manual. Which does bother some people, but if you're looking for maybe just a daily driver, an automatic may not be half bad. Automatics are a lot more common at a much better price than the manual variants of the Cadillac. I am missing a flappy paddle on this side, it feels like. Yep, definitely missing one. I have the bottom one, but I don't have the top one. So why would you pick a CTS-V over a Corvette? Well, one, space. It's just more space. You get a bigger motor too. The 6.2 liter supercharged V8 is definitely a bang on of a motor. You have the trunk, and you have something that I would argue looks a little bit more unique that people may notice more of. Now, this is just a matte black, tuned, cutout exhaust CTS-V. So probably right around 550 to the wheels, which is just enough to pretty much have fun anywhere you go. You have the automatic so you can drive around with it, sure. Is it fantastic? Is it perfect? No, it is not. One of the weirdest things with the CTS-V, especially in the automatic transmissions, is just getting it to do what you want. Once you can figure it out, it behaves lovely. But getting it to be figured out, that is what takes a little bit of a nickel of time. Once you get through the fact that there's nothing behind you that you can see, there's nothing to the sides that you can see, you can't take the top off, but Cadillac does have something that's very, very nice. And it is an interior that just feels good. When you're looking at which one you can modify more, you can modify both of them. You can modify them both to kingdom come. They have a 6.2 liter supercharged V8, or you have the dry sump LS3 that's in the Corvette, both of which have millions of people that constantly try to break them. I mean, this is a drag car. The Corvette is a drag car. This beat the 8-minute barrier at the Nürburgring when it was introduced on street tires. The car can perform. This car can go to the track, it can go to the drag, it can go anywhere you could possibly want. And on top of all of that, you also get a trunk. You also get an interior that, besides this flappy paddle, doesn't break off. Like, it's nice. It sounds good. Nothing is too much in your face, nothing is too loud, nothing is too crazy. To me, this is a car where, is it worth the extra $10,000? I would say yes, if it was your only car. If this was your only car that you were looking to drive and literally take everywhere, and you lived in a place where winter just isn't that much of a thing, I would recommend a CTS-V over a Corvette. If you have two cars, I would recommend probably just getting the Corvette and letting that second car be a, I don't know, like a Jeep or a truck or something like that, that you can do all that other stuff in. Because unfortunately, when you start getting up the price range of CTS-Vs and you start getting into the manual, you're paying a good chunk of change. The wagons still are like $50,000, and that's an automatic wagon. And I love wagons. Wagons are my favorite car in the world. I just don't know if it's worth $50,000 for a wagon, but that is just me. The best part about either of these cars, when you're really looking at the best part of either of them, which is there's quite a few pros. The cons are pretty minimal because it's still a V8, it's still tried and true, it's still reliable, it's still all of that stuff. Cadillac's gonna have a couple more issues just because it's a Cadillac. It seems like that's just something that happens. The biggest thing that it comes down to is just overall confidence in the car. When you have a car like this that comes built, that comes big, you really don't have to worry about it breaking down on you. You just don't have to, because it came from the factory with it. And the car wasn't built to just be a straight power monster. It was meant to be around the track. The Corvette, same thing. Years over years over years, they've gotten better at developing it for road use and track use together. The street use and track use together is so important. And I think the CTS-V nails that combo better than the Chevy Corvette. But the Chevy Corvette hits a part in your soul that the Cadillac doesn't. And I think what that feeling that the Corvette gives you, the feeling that the Corvette gives you where the CTS-V just doesn't, is just that overall feeling of a sports car. This feels much more like a sports sedan that only has 2 doors. This doesn't feel as viciously connected to the ground like the Corvette does. The longer wheelbase, or what it feels like a longer wheelbase, the long nose of the Corvette, this just doesn't have that. This thing is more of an executive car, whereas the Corvette is just like a little bit more of the teenager car in all of us, you know? And sometimes I want to be a child, and sometimes I want to be an adult, but I still don't think I'll ever find the day where you can have both in one car. Whether you're choosing a CTS-V or a Corvette, it really comes down to, I'm not gonna say it which one you like more, but it actually comes down to, are you looking for more of a tuner car? Are you looking for more of a car that's in your face, a little bit more just different, more aggressive, more everything, more loud? In my case, although people may disagree, the Corvette does that better. It's got the long nose, it's got the wider arches, it just has that feeling it's lower to the ground. The CTS-V, you can't see a dang thing out of, but it is more of an executive car. It's a car that you can do pretty much anything in on top of what the Corvette can also do, whereas the Corvette can't do everything that the CTS-V can. For the extra $10,000, is it worth it? I don't know. It kind of comes down to, would you rather have one car or a car and a motorcycle? I guess it really does depend. In my eyes, I love that and how it looks, and I love that and how it feels inside. If we could just bring them together, that would be the best solution, which is technically probably an AMG. If you think about Mercedes-Benz has the high horsepower, usually the V8 displacement with the supercharger, but it does have this really weird thing called depreciation where you just lose your out of everything.